good day. I'm going to be taking the time today to repot this tree here. I've neglected it for quite some time, and I thought that perhaps I had just stuck this cutting in here and never done anything with it, but just looking around a little this morning, I actually found a couple videos that I had this in. The original video, the first video, I actually have in a really small plastic pot, and I never did a repotting video on how I got into this. I'm really curious to see what the soil is going to look like in here. It's organic on top. That's why I was under the impression that it had been a long time since I've done anything with it, because it's been a long time since I've used organic soil. But even when those videos were made between the plastic pot and this pot, I should have at least been using the cheaper type of bonsai substrate. So be interested to see what's in there when I get in there. First thing I gotta do though is I gotta get it to where I can work on it. Sometimes I just kind of like to show off things that happen when we're, the idea is I've actually kind of had it sitting out there about like this, just right on the dirt, trying to, I noticed that the Cascade kept dying off if I tried to keep it wired and pointing down and also upright like that. I've kind of just as a personal decision decided that Cascades are not going to be for me. I think they are pretty interesting to do, but at the same time, they're just pretty hard to maintain. And when you have plants that are apically dominant. All right, let's see what we can do here. And then let's get rid of some of these weeds. Alright, I kind of gave up on trying to get those roots and all, just simply because I'm going to be repotting it. They're going to come out roots and all in a minute anyway. Still haven't really fully decided what kind of pot I'm going to get it in, just because I'm not really sure what the stump is going to look like when I get it up out of here. But while it's still in this good and sturdy pot, I do want to prune it up really well and also get some wire on it so I know what I'm looking at when I get it out. And then I don't have to do that whenever I do go to put it in the new pot. Alright, did some final cleaning up with the camera off. I had to hold the pot at some angles to get it. Some of the branches that were down here would have been hard to kind of show anyway. I think some of my process here, or my thought process, sorry, is I was trying to get this branch away from this one, just so I could keep the two. I mean, I have had a little thought process of taking off the top one here and just having this as the cascading branch. And I've had some process of doing the thoughts of doing the other way too, taking the bottom one off and just leaving the top one. But I may leave that for some future decisions. Whenever I go to repot it, you can see this one is right on the pot, and I have it at just, and a bad angle in this pot to begin with, and just with this old crappy soil in there and everything. Once I get it situated a little bit better, and it recovers from this, and the next time I go to work on it, I may decide to do something drastic like that. But for today, I'm going to keep both of them. Right now I'm just gonna wire the two primary branches here. I think I'm actually going to take this one off. Just a shoot kind of coming out. This one has some taper, and even though it looks awkward coming up the way it does, I can wire it down. But I'm gonna wire the two main branches together, and then I'm gonna wire these two together, and I'm gonna try, one of the other, my other thoughts here is as this thing recovers, I will allow it to recover some, but I won't let any shoots come off the main trunk, or off of this straight up. And I'll try to keep this pretty tame so that some sap flow continues to go down the Cascade. I think that's one of the things I was doing, is I was just, letting it grow and check for so long, and it'll get all those shoots off down here, and then it's not getting any energy down there. If I decide to put it back in this pot, I may go ahead and just rest it in the soil like that again and let it grow some. But I do think I'd like to get it in something better. We'll just have to see what I think whenever I get it bare rooted. I do plan on bare rooting it. Alright, I got the wire on there. Not going to bend anything into place until I decide on the angle I'm going to get on it when I get it in the new pot. I'm just going to get in here for now and see what this soil looks like. Safe for being organic soil. It's healthier than I thought it would be. And for having it sit on the ground, sometimes when I get into soil like this, I don't really have any really old trees anymore that I have in the organic soil, but sometimes when I get into some of the stuff I have outside, succulents that sit right on the ground, start digging in here, I'll get a bunch of ants and roaches and stuff. I don't see anything in here. Kind of odd. And if you don't live in Florida, by roaches I mean palmetto bugs. They're not the house roaches that you might think of up north. Our lovely flying roaches down here. Take that out. Alright, and if you've been watching my channel for a while, especially with the organic soil like this, it's time for me to go break out the hose and hose this thing off. I'd like to get that set up where I can do that on video one day, but I do take my clippers out there with me and just kind of clip a little as I realize pieces that may need to leave or may need to go. You can see some of this year's even, I might take that off right now. It's folded under the way it was sitting in the pot, kind of folded under. Wanted to grow some new roots out. But I'm going to do that and we'll take a look at it here in a minute. Alright, so it came out looking pretty good. Right here is that root that I cut that I said kind of was like up against the edge of that terracotta pot. And I'm just going to finish. I'm just going to prune that right up to that other root coming out of the side there. That's not in the greatest spot, but I do want to save some of those roots. This one has some fine roots coming off of it, but it's a little long. And it's also kind of bending the wrong way. I don't think Cascades having a good nabari is as important as, if it was going to be just a regular tree, if you will. But I am just going to go ahead and nip some of that off. and then leave the rest of those fine roots there. That should give it plenty of roots to recover with and everything. Still trying to make up my mind for certain. This is a pot. This pot looks really cool out in the sun. Almost looks like a different color than it does indoors here. But it was actually a mistake from Hippie Dad Bonsai. And but it actually, but it also could have that look of, the tree kind of came out of the side of it, if you will. Just a feature you could kind of use with it. But then I kind of find the whole problem with doing that is, first off, I did pay quite a bit for this pot, and it just seems like, looking at it from that angle, the trunk is just not big enough for a pot that wide on the top. Now, of course, it's got the lip on the top too. Something about it just makes me a little think it's not really a fit. Although when I get it situated just like that there, and even this top part, I don't know, it's not really cascading. I really don't think I'm going to want to do that. I mean, the one thing that I really did want to do that for is because of the reason why I want to do that is because, like I said, it's really nice, looks really cool outside, the way that the glaze looks in the sun. But I don't really have another tree picked out for it, or even in mind in any kind of future time. I'm thinking for a little while, this might be the pot that does it. And this actually was a pot that just kind of came with another plant that I got at some point. Super cheap. And perhaps I could find someplace out there to kind of lean it like that. And if anything happens to it, I wouldn't feel, it wouldn't break my heart at all compared to, I don't want anything to happen to that other pot at all. So I think I am going to go ahead and do this one. And just let that stew for a little bit and see how things go with that. Alright, I think I'm going to have it at about an angle about like this. I already put a little soil in the bottom of the pot. As I compact the other soil in there, I can kind of shift it around a little if I need to. Don't really need to worry about picking a front or anything with this guy, since it's in a round pot. Alright, and that's going to just about do it for this guy here. Just got some subtle movement in both those branches there. I have discovered that I've had quite a few trees that perhaps I've been working a little bit too much, and then some I've been neglecting a little bit too much. I think I'll have to keep in mind to not be neglecting this one anymore. But after it recovers a bit, I will try to keep up with it, try to keep the apex a little bit tame. I think one of the rules for a cascade is that the cascading branch has to be lower than the bottom of the pot. I don't really follow strict rules all that much. This one can get there. Ficus trees do tend to thicken up in the pot quite a bit. If I haven't found anything for that other pot by the time this thing does thicken up and mature a little more, its next repot I just may put it in there. We'll just have to wait and see on that one and see how it turns out.